Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report, and it's open lines, and we're going to talk about some of the international history and world events first, and then we'll talk about wellness nutraceuticals. And we always bring the most advanced technology. I'm working actually with some scientists in China and Russia on advancing the technology of the QRMA and the Russian Space Agency, Cosmological Agency, the Bioplasma LS. We're also going to be bringing in soon a technology for a magnetic energizer device, and that device is now, I have the first of those devices here in my studio research facility, and we'll be posting it up shortly. I want to just touch on some of the most important stories that are cooking as well. Right now, of course, they have recruited more Israeli soldiers getting ready for a possible breaking in the peace treaty, which is, of course, this truce. It's for another 72-hour truce, which is ridiculous. 6 people, including a videographer, were killed with an explosion of a device that occurred also in Gaza now. So the munitions were dropped by the Israelis. By the way, these are American munitions. So if Obama really wanted to stop the bombing, he would just simply stop giving the munitions to the Israelis so they wouldn't have material to use for bombs. Also got some interesting news. The consignment of the ZMapp, which is the drug ZMapp, genetically engineered, by the way, it was given to the Liberian Minister of Foreign Affairs. It's going to be administered to 2 Liberian doctors, Dr. Zukunis, Ireland, and Abraham Borbor, who officials said contracted the disease while attending to patients. And, of course, the world's most serious epidemic has claimed 1,069 lives, and there were 1,975 probable and suspected cases in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. What's probably going to happen is 3 people have died in Nigeria, as this is going to explode and will shut down commerce coming out of Africa. And anybody coming out of these countries will be quarantined automatically, going to Europe or any other Western country for at least 30 days. And, of course, there's a number of companies, one out of Burnaby, British Columbia, that's come up with a drug. There's also, quote, vaccine. Vaccine is an adenovirus with 2 genes inserted to generate the antigenic proteins of Ebola without producing, quote, an infection. It produces the adeno or regular cold virus to introduce the genes, but this is similar to Gardasil, where the genes are inserted into your cells. Your cells then generate the proteins, and again, non-self proteins could produce autoimmune diseases. So I'm very concerned of this so-called vaccine, which again is the new genetic or DNA type vaccines, that they may be dangerous and stupid. So, latest news, of course, we still regret the loss of Robin Williams. I want to talk about what we call the Robin Williams effect. Robin Williams was obviously a genius, but he was manic depressive. If he had seen a functional medicine doc and looked at his biochemistry, they would have seen clearly that he probably was trying to medicate himself with alcohol to deal with severe anxiety, depression, and imbalances in neurotransmitters. That his financial and other problems could have easily been solved because someone with his creativity combined with the skills, with a proper financial or manager, could have spun it into immense amounts of capital to deal with any of his financial problems. So his problems were of a biochemical nature, and because of all the people close to him, they really never addressed the fact, and we see this all the time, where people are told, well, why does someone have autism? Why was someone prone to manic depression? It's all brain chemistry. If it was, instead of a brain, we call it a liver inside your skull, we'd say, oh, enzyme X or Y is wrong in your liver, and this is why we need to do to fix your liver. So if we just renamed it a different organ, we would realize that the brain and behavior is just biochemistry. It's real straightforward. It's simple. Yes, there is a soul that transcends beyond the physical brain, but it's our interfacer, the interface with so-called our real physical world in this dimensional plane. And I think that we have solutions, and I think the death of Robin Williams should bring out the idea of we have a lot of our sick society that becomes addicted to alcohol or drugs, or addictive behaviors, including sexual addictions to gambling, etc. These are chemical addictions. I had a close friend some years ago that died, went back and only had alcohol but other problems. We tried to intervene a number of times for his wife, and unfortunately he thought he was on a big roll in Las Vegas, and eventually he died as a result of it. He ended up in hospital and he succumbed. You can have a lot of these kinds of situations happen. This ordinance that killed 6 in Gaza was reported from the New Zealand Herald, and the Associated Press videographer was the one who also was killed in that disaster. SeaWorld, of course, earnings plunging because of the animal welfare debate rages. Here's my opinion on it. Firstly, the SeaWorld basically are being attacked because they say that this movie that was put out about a year ago that says that these are highly intelligent animals and should be in pens. Real solution is, why doesn't SeaWorld make a large area, because they're right beside the ocean, where these animals don't feel penned, where they feel like they have a large area? It's almost like putting an animal in too small a cage. And if you want to train them to do tricks, make sure that the animals are collaborating with you more. Respond to these demands. And I really don't see a problem with some of them reproducing in captivity, as long as they're treated more humanely. The problem is, it's just almost like the issue we deal with free-range chickens and organic chickens is really no different. We have an highly intelligent animal that's being kept in too small a cage. Some of the behavior we saw in advance of one of the SeaWorld animals that I think in Florida killed one of their trainers. They don't pick up on the idea that these are intelligent animals and get mental illness as well, or can be abused and have problems. And there were evidence that this particular orca was having difficulties before the attack and caused the death of their trainer. So I think if they respond to this in a positive way, SeaWorld will be fine, but they need to put some money in to have the kind of chambers that don't excessively stress the animals, that the animals feel like they're more free. And in fact, maybe at some point they have an animal release program where if the animals reach a certain quality of life and health and they're able to interact. Problem is, remember now, some of these animals don't have the skill sets to survive at sea. It's almost like raising a wolf in a zoo and then trying to release the wolf into the wild and hope that they're going to survive. They probably aren't. Even if they look like they're fully capable, they may not have the skill sets they learned from earlier days. So I think that we have to use some common sense here. We're actually saving a lot of these animals that are, in a sense, being in a museum, especially when we talk about the death of a lot of the whales caused by the death of the food chain in the Pacific Ocean, caused by Fukushima Daiichi, which is destroying a lot of animals. To hear SeaWorld under this kind of stress isn't good. And I think common sense is not reigning on either side of the issue. That's my take on it. Citizenship oath as queens is a symbolic commitment. Court rules is in dismissing. So citing the symbolic nature of the citizenship oath, Ontario's top court has dismissed the constitutional challenge by 3 permanent residents who claim swearing allegiance to the Queen is discriminatory and unjust. And what they're basically saying, it is just a symbolic nature. So in other words, the Ontario top court is trying to say that if you swear to the Queen, even though it's just symbolic, it's not discriminatory. My guess is this will be bumped up from the Ontario's top court to the federal court. Most likely it'll be turfed out, and there'll be no more swearing to the Queen. I think that is on the way out. The British Commonwealth, its last spasm is the United Nations, and the United Nations as it currently constitutes will implode, just like a lot of globalist controller stratagems that's being used by the bankers to control everybody. In American news, we see lots of other things. Of course, there's been major storms. We just talked to Ed Brown, where they had 12 inches of rain in 1 hour. These kind of extreme weather things are going to be, as we move into what we call hurricane season. And having lived up in the northeast of the United States and Canada, I can tell you that it's the weather there is pretty darn extreme at times. And if you're not aware of the kind of weather and the type of really well-made homes that you have to have, it can be pretty frightening in terms of the danger of flooding, trees down, other things. It's quite remarkable. What's going on in Ukraine, of course, is that now, as we talked about in the first hour, the Ukraine-bound Russian convoy is stuck amid doubts about its route to get to the people in Donetsk and Slavyansk. It's being blocked repeatedly, even though the Poroshenko government's approved it. The NATO people and the United Nations is pushing for it. NATO is pushing against it to block it, and so is America under Obama, trying to block the humanitarian aid. And when we come back, we'll take your questions, 800-259-5791. Welcome back, and we have lots of interesting news going on. Ebola, of course, fears infiltrate the African sports, and a health worker examines patients from the Ebola inside a screening tent at the Kenema Government Hospital situated in Eastern Province around 300 kilometers from the capital city of Freetown in Kenema. Things are getting more bothersome. We also have new interesting research coming out of the East Coast and Southwest, where a tick is inducing red meat allergy. And it's now been proven that this tick can actually induce an allergy to red meat, according to experts. And the Lone Star ticks have spread from the southwest to the East Coast as well. A new link says Ebola vaccine trial could start in weeks. And, of course, that's related to Newslink to Genentech Corporation. This is the vaccine I talked about, that it's the adenovirus with the 2 genes in it. I think it could induce autoimmunity just like the Gardasil, and could cause very unexpected and very nasty side effects. Of course, they talk about a new high-dose flu vaccine because in a few months the flu season starts again. The flu vaccine has lots of toxic adjuvants that destroy the immune system. Senior citizens don't need anything to upregulate their microglia in their brain to cause brain inflammation, as they're often having that from abnormal fatty acids, bioaccumulation of heavy metals. Previous vaccines are now activating as they get older in their immune system, and the microglia of their brain is deteriorating. This is a bad idea. And this whole idea, we're seeing researchers as well in terms of use of bacteria to kill tumors. They're researching this now in Voice of America, a promising therapy to treat cancerous tumors by injecting them with bacteria found in soil. I'd like to see the research a little bit more rational. I'd like to know some more specifics about what they're talking about. We now know that there's lots of anti-cancer therapies that have migrated to places like Mexico and Brazil and elsewhere. But developing them here in America, even if the research lab starts it, the average practitioner is not going to be able to do it, even if some of these things like soil-based bacteria are able to kill cancer cells. We know that research on mycobacteria and cancer has been going on since the 1930s in Germany, and these are basically bacteria without a proper capsule. So that's interesting. The whole issue of suicide, of course, how are the lessons of the Deadly Poet Society can help in understanding suicide? And, of course, we talked about this in the brain chemistry problem. If we look at organic acids, the people that have depression, schizophrenia, psychosis, etc., they have abnormal brains. They may have on one side the bright flash of, as was said by one of the recent Hollywood stars, the lightning of creativity of Robin Williams. But on the other hand, there's a downside, and it's almost like someone has their own ability to create, if you want to call it crack cocaine in their own brain, but when they come down, it's not very pleasant at all. It's a very unpleasant situation. So that's important. There's also latest research on Parkinson's disease. They say, can wearable technology put a dent in Parkinson's? We now know what Parkinson's is. It is the accumulation of free iron and heavy metals in the tectum or the roof of the midbrain. You can then see it on a high-resolution CT scan as microcrystallization and the formation of specific types of pathological cells, without boring you with the fancy long name of it. You can detoxify these heavy metals and remove them. You can stimulate stem cells to migrate to that part of the brain through the periventricular areas. And you can reestablish neural myelination pathway in the secondary motor neurons in that part of the brain from the primary motor neurons in the upper Rolandic fissure of the parietal cortex. So the whole approach to Parkinson's disease in the past has been wrong-headed. They've done fetal tissue transplantations, and I did presented research articles against it some 22 years ago to the Canadian Royal Commission on New Reproductive Technologies. The average person requires 22 aborted fetuses using low-flow suction, and a neuroanatomist and right beside the abortuary, where the actual head of the aborted child is dissected anatomically in a microscope, and the diencephalon transplanted cells into the brain. Very ineffective, and they can act like a tumor. In fact, they do act like tumors. The real issue is, let's fix the brain problem, let's help stem cells get in there, and let's prepare the soil of the brain so that the stem cells can integrate with the neurological pathways. The problem is that we have a blunt-ended approach to think, well, we'll just stick diencephalon cells to generate dopamine in this area of the brain, without looking at the brain chemistry that caused the problem in the first place, the gene defects, the accumulation of biotoxins, and the dysmyelination, loss of the myelin sheath. So that's part of the reason why this research has gone wrong-headed. and why things are not working properly. And of course, we want to bring on back on the program Dr. Mayer Eisenstein to talk about the legal, because he's a JD as well, on don't vaccinate before you educate, and we'll be talking with Mayer about that coming up in the next probably month or so. He's a MD, JD, in the greater Chicago area, and of course he's very much into the boosting metabolism. He uses actually human chorionic gonadotropin sublingual tablets. When I had my first practice back in 1980, 34 years ago, I purchased from Kent Remington, who was doing injectable HCG and was very effective at weight loss. We had a lot of Mormons who do not smoke and do not drink coffee, but they sure eat lots. And we were very effective at getting weight loss on a low-calorie diet, called an HCG diet with that. What I would now say is those HCG diets, unless you're very cautious, you can get nutritional deficiencies. That's why I don't like the gastric bypass surgery, because it's going to cause dramatic nutritional imbalances and deficiencies. You're best to boost the metabolism with things like our leptin metabolic, diabetoline, because basically obesity is a first phase of diabetes. It's an elevated insulin resistance, a leptin resistance, and a shutting off of brown fat metabolism. So we need to reverse that with exercise like vibrational exercise, infrared sauna, our nutraceuticals that'll boost metabolism and lower insulin resistance. So we have to treat it as a metabolic disease rather than just saying it's because someone overeats, which is a side effect. But they did a research study at the University of Philadelphia some years ago and discovered 2,000 pair-matched people that there was no difference in the amount of exercise or eating. People were dramatically overweight and those people are normal weight. So in other words, the whole thesis that people that are overweight, what they found, however, was the exact opposite, that people that want to maintain their weight at a lower weight, that had a metabolic tendency toward obesity, had to permanently reduce their calorie intake by 25%. Or, alternatively, you can increase your exercise and your metabolic stimuli, such as taking things like CoQ10, the ALC 1000, D-ribose, and things like propionyl L-carnitine and the IBS care, mitocarnitine, mitochondrial catalyst to boost metabolic rate, and lipoflush to properly oxidize fatty acids in your muscular tissues, which burns off fat and activate your brown fat tissues. So if you change the metabolism, as you change the activation of the specific genes, you fix the problem. But that approach is not what's being done now. They always take the quick surgical approach, which causes new problems. When we come back, your questions on any topic, 800-259-5791. Remember, it's your bullhorn to ask questions about any topic, wellness, geopolitics. Just tell the board op, Randy, what your question is, specifically questions and specific statements, and we'll see if we bring you on the air. It'll be your bullhorn to get it all over the planet through many avenues that we broadcast through Genesis Network. Back in a moment. Welcome back, and just a quick story. The Iraqi government under al-Maliki is certainly not standing by. Their airstrikes have killed 8 in the positions in the ISIL, which is we call the ISIS, which America's supporting. And, of course, Nouri al-Maliki is warned of more turmoil if he's replaced. He actually was trained and placed there by America. And, of course, he's been turned on by America to say now that this man is Shiite, and he's now allied himself with Iran and Syria, they've planned on replacing him. But, of course, they've armed ISIS, which now is threatened to do terrorism in American and European soil. So our foreign policy is completely out of its mind altogether. And, of course, Pope Francis has gone to Korea, the spiritual meaning of travel during the turmoil, and urges action to end the Iraqi tragedy. We have literally thousands of people trapped in the mountain there that Obama is still futzing around whether or not he's going to help to stop the problem with the crisis of food, water, and other things, just basic supplies getting into the area. So as we continue to our foreign policy and continue bombing, maybe our idea of foreign aid is to bomb people. Not the Russians bringing 380 trucks that are being blocked by not only Obama's comments, but by the NATO comments by Mr. Rasmussen, who's the head of NATO right now. I think it's pretty insane that they will block humanitarian aid coming into the people of Donetsk and Slavyansk, where civilians are dying. It's a violation of the Geneva Accord and international treaties. So that's pretty crazy. Some of the latest health news, and I will often post up articles that I've researched that I think are interesting. countries that are Ebola-stricken countries are turning to ancient practice to curb the outbreak. 3 West African countries have taken extraordinary action by beginning to cordon off affected areas, a tactic used in medieval times to fight the bubonic plague. So they're literally closing off territories within their own country. It's interesting, Jim Caldwell has also had visions of Gatorade buckets being dumped on his head for other reasons when he took the Detroit Lions job in January, but the ice-cold shower practice was for a good cause. It's for it's called the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS, which is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. We know ALS is a free radical disease in the spinal cord. We do positron emission tomography scanning and scanning for the not only ENG nerve conduction studies, but more sensitive tests such as the Axon 2 scan, which I have developed with Dr. Jim Hedgecock, who's the DC Dean of Chiropractic at Pasadena and also PhD in Physiology at University of California, Irvine. FDA approved in 97. I added potentiometry in the 1999-2000 when I did a study for the Department of Motor Vehicles in Colorado on repetitive motion injury and nerve entrapments. And there's really no excuse for us not taking a scientific and genetic and metabolic approach toward ALS. It's being treated by people who are non-scientists, and scientists need to lead away on solving these problems, just like functional medicine is a science-based approach toward wellness. We got through a lot of our nutraceuticals the other day with Ryan in the first hour on Monday, and I want to continue on some of the discussions. We have, of course, our new Immunomax powder, which is going to have lactoferrin, transfer factors for immune memory, colostrum, and, of course, factors that we're going to bind lactoferrin back. Iron, we call the iron time bomb, especially in males, that can cause free radical plaque and oxidized fatty acids and cholesterol. The deficiencies of immunoglobulins in the GI and respiratory tract are a major cause of infections and autoimmune disease. We have, of course, our Inflamex, which is the best all-around anti-inflammatory. It's an enzymatic anti-inflammatory, 10 times stronger than the old Wowzyme, and plus it has serapeptase, which we, by the way, have the separate serafluzyme. If you just want the serapeptase enzyme, we have serafluzyme. We also have the anti-inflammatory cell defense, which is the most powerful form of slow-release tablet form of curcumin with black pepper extract, which is called bioperin, so it increases dramatic absorption. If you have joint problems, we have joint performance, tendon mender, Collagen Max, Mountain Red Velvet, amazing combinations. The joint performance is the best way to rebuild joint cartilage, tendon mender, the connective tissues around the joints, and the ligaments to reduce the swelling, say carpal tunnel syndrome, rotator cuff syndrome, torn partial meniscus of the knee, say bucket handle. We have the lactose blocker, which is the only neutral pH lactase enzyme in the world. There's no other competitor. Just like we have no competitor for our Silver 100, which is always on special, the only ionic silver in the world, hundreds of times stronger than any other silver, and the only plasma diatomic activated form of iodine called Nutrimedical. We also have the upgraded version of Alimed for the Allison Med, which I developed, which is 200 milligrams more allicin stabilized complex to kill all pathogens at a better price than Alimed, which has now got a track record of over 25 years. Written as a prescription in Great Britain, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. We have the leptin metabolic, first breakthrough reducer in insulin leptin resistance in the world. It is an amazing breaker of also osteoarthritis, where there's an upregulation due to insulin resistance and leptin resistance of increased cytokines or inflammatory molecules in the joints. I recommend 1 to 2 capsules twice a day. Great for weight loss, for arthritis, for reducing appetite control because it affects the VML nucleus in the brain. We have, of course, Life Support. The Life Support chocolate and vanilla are amazing for detoxification, as all the phase 2 detox, all the activated vitamins and tracks minerals. We have, of course, Lipo Flush that gets rid of fatty acids. It's able to mobilize fat dramatically with the leptin metabolic. I think they're 1-2 punch. If you're trying to mobilize fat, it's leptin metabolic and LipoFlush. The LipoFlush is CLA. If you're eating, for example, grass-fed beef, you're going to get some conjugated linoleic acids. 2 soft gels twice a day, and you have a dramatic increase in metabolic mobilization of fat, even if it's the last 10 pounds that you can't lose or it's stubborn. We have Living Probiotic, which is the Roselle 6 strain from the Pasteur Institute. It's the best overall probiotic in the world. And we have the most powerful probiotic on the planet, which is the Living Probiotic Ultra, which is the How Are You strain. Magnesium glycinate malate goes directly into your mitochondrial system of your Krebs cycle. It's the fastest way to raise body magnesium, which is the most important intracellular mineral. If you don't have adequate magnesium, you can't even maintain potassium, and we have the magnesium potassium citrate, which also will reduce and dramatically the formation of kidney stones, gallbladder stones, etc. Malignant block. This is the anti-cancer cellular detoxification. It stimulates phase 2 detox. It stimulates cancer cell apoptosis or repair of the DNA if it's not too far gone. It's integrated. Of course, malignant block is present in our age less, which is one of the reasons why you age less if you take it. It's also present in the capsule form in Nutrimune. We have malignant arrest. This blocks abnormal cell growth and stops the metabolic pathway called a hexose monophosphate shunt of glucose metabolism, because cancer cells are anaerobic and they're dependent on the hexose monophosphate shunt for energetics. So when we use malignant arrest, it literally stops cancer cells. We also use it in autoimmune disease because cells that are developing autoimmunity and exposing abnormal antigens on their surface, I discovered some years ago that the same metabolic processes are going on. So if you have someone with ankylosing spondylitis that's not responding to simply anti-inflammatories, we want to change their antigenic stimulus on their tissues of their spine or their bowel, we use malignant arrest. Melatonin time release, we have sleep induction. It's fantastic. We're also going to be bringing out a new formula coming up in the next probably month that is for unbroken sleep. So for best for induction sleep is melatonin TR and Calm Mind, which you can take during the day. And you'll also find, by the way, you can unwind the system by changing the balance of the autonomic nervous system with vibrational exercise and infrared sauna. Melatonin TR combined with Calm Mind is fantastic for sleep induction. And we have an unbroken sleep formula coming out as well that'll work with our melatonin TR. Men's Max. This is a Men's Max pack. Basically, you're going to get Men's Max 2 Enhanced for Man and the Supernox. Men's Max is going to release male hormone from the binding protein globulin. So if you do with your doctor sex hormone binding globulin and androstenedione, dihydrotestosterone, and testosterone levels, this releases more of the free hormone. So rather than giving you more, we release what's already being made. Combine that with hormone synergy to prevent you from converting your male hormone to female. And if you need to, we add Enhanced for Men, all of the other factors, and Supernox if you're having problems with erectile dysfunction, and you're set to go. Fantastic approaches naturally to reverse male menopause.
Is it possible?
And yeah, we have lots of fun here, Nutrimedical, helping people, and we provide a unique service. We have the most advanced nutraceuticals on the planet, more advanced than any other company anywhere, and more advanced than even your doctor or your naturopaths are going to get access to, because we have the top doctors, the top formulators, and exclusive contracts. And it's interesting, for example, our leptin metabolic is from an exclusive lab in Europe, same as our Collagen Max. No one else has anything equivalent and can't get the license for it. Then we look at things like we talked about men's menopause. Men's Max, which releases a hormone, Enhanced for Men, which increases production, hormone synergy prevents with 8-parental and renogen natural conversion in your adipose tissue from male hormone to female. By the way, it stops hot flashes in men. It also works for women to prevent female hormone from converting to female hormone to male hormone. And we use, of course, femgesterone for women to increase their progesterone production. If we need to increase their levels of estrogenic production, we can do that with natural support. Minerals Plus, of course, is our other vitamin besides the Vitamin Mineral Max. It includes extra trace minerals for energy, mood, and insulin resistance. It's amazing formulation, very unique, and it's all tracks amino acid chelates, which is the most advanced forms of minerals and activated vitamins. We have mitothyroid, which is thyroid, adrenal, and hypothalamus. A very unique formula. It does have activated T4 and T3, so you don't need additional thyroid, but you do need to monitor blood levels, and I recommend measuring reversed thyroid hormone, RT3, free reverse thyroid hormone, free T3, and free T4. But the free T3 and free reverse T3 are the most important. You can measure core body temperature too. I recommend most people that if they take mitothyroid, and it's usually 1 or 2 capsules in the morning, they take adrenal support 1 or 2 capsules twice a day. morning and before supper. You don't want to take it too late. We have the Micelle Ultra D3 liquid, 1,000 international units per drop. And Micelle D3 is soft gels, 5,000 units per soft gel. The usual person, I'll recommend taking 2 soft gels of the D3. You should get a blood level done if you have any concern at all about D3 levels being low, because if it's low, you're going to grow cancer, not be able to form bones, can't activate your stem cells. Very important. And by the way, a lot of different drugs that your doctors give will block stem cell activation, like ACE inhibitors, ACE receptor blockers. If you want to screw up collagen, take non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen and Celebrex, etc. We have, of course, the Myco D2, which is the oncomycin, which helps to block cancer. It has also ergothioneine, which stimulates a major first-stage stimulation of your stem cells to activate and start healing. And it's one of the things we give along with our Micelle D3 for bone regeneration, and menaquinone 7, which is a full vitamin K2. So our bone generator is amazing when you take it with these other things, as well as Tendon Bender and Collagen Max. If you want to rebuild bones, you want to have, I call vitamin VX, which is vibrational exercise, because you compress the crystals of the bone and form a piezoelectric microcurrent, which actually stimulates bone regeneration of the lamellar and the membranous bones of your skull and around your teeth. So that's what vibrational exercise does. So you need gravity, I call it. Neovasc is our niacinamide to lower triglyceride level, normalize lipid levels. Very, very effective, along with omega cod liver liquid. Head-to-head, omega cod liver liquid is superior to HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors and will not dysmyelinate your brain, cause CoQ10 levels to crash in your heart, or cause other organ damage. So nattokinase with this is dramatically going to reduce clot formation. Do not take the prescription drugs like Xarelto and other drugs for, if you have atrial fibrillation, take nattokinase and lumbrokinase. And if you have peripheral varicose veins, vasculitis, or other problems, you want to do a NEVA, arterial and venous study, do serial studies every 3 to 6 months. And the nattokinase and lumbrokinase will keep that in the proper range. You can monitor your levels by measuring rheologics. That's the non-Newtonian fluid dynamics of blood viscosity. It's called RHEOLOGICS, rheologics. And your doctor can order the test, and you can do it, send it off to Rheologics lab that can measure your blood viscosity. You can also do hypercoagulation tests, which are more advanced tests that the hematologists, some hematologists are trained in that. I work with the hypercoag labs in Denver, which is one of 6 reference labs in the Western world. And so I get a lot of consults, even from among internists, for me to do a hypercoag evaluation, including factor V Leiden mutation, other gene changes, and other specific factors well beyond things like fibrin degradation products, etc., that cause hypercoagulation. So the real issue when you're looking at C-reactive protein is look at hypercoag. If your coagulation, if your blood viscosity is high due to elevated SED rates and other factors, C-reactive protein, Pi1, that's the best way to monitor all of them is blood viscosity. And, of course, increasing nitric oxide, supernox, and cardivite, along with vibrational exercise and infrared sauna. We have, of course, Neurogen, which directly stimulates the brain to create new nerve cells and to remyelinate. We have NutriComplete, which is now the best red greens formula, and it's now coming back out of back order. We have NutriDefense, which I personally designed, the most powerful antioxidant in the world, which is the anhydrous catechin. And it has the IP6 to block free iron. It has all the things to block encapsulated RNA and DNA viruses, and the most powerful natural killer cell stimulant. So, very powerful formula, NutriDefense. We have it in our first line of defense kit. NutriImmune, of course, the immunoglobulins, lactoferrin, colostrum, and transfer factors in the Immunomax and Ageless. Nutriodine, this is the most powerful diatomic form of plasma-activated iodine in the world, and there is no comparison to any other iodine anywhere. And whether you mine it, you do this or that to it, this is from reagent-grade, 100% non-radioactive iodine that is put through a very special process, and there's only one person in the world knows how to do it. I'm not sharing it. Nutrifos, we have phospholipids, phosphatidylcholine, serine, and inositol and ethanolamine. This rebuilds the myelin sheath of your nerves, also your cell membranes of your body. Nutritrala, the only long-acting alpha-lipoic acid on the planet. ALA is good, but it only lasts for around 8 minutes, half-life. If you take Nutritrala, one tablet will last 8 to 12 hours. I usually recommend I take 2 twice a day at least. It makes a major difference recycling all your fat and water-soluble antioxidants to protect your body to recycle all your vitamins for your fat-soluble areas of your cells and your water-soluble areas of your cells. We have omega-3, 6, 9, which is a very complete marine lipids, omega-6 and 9 fatty acid. We have omega cod liver liquid, which is fantastic. We have sale prices on them. 16 ounces, 480 ml bottles. This is one of my most favorite because it contains vitamin A, D, E, and K, the fat-soluble phospholipids, head-to-head superior to HMG CoRe reductase inhibitors at normalizing triglycerides and HDL. Omega Supreme Krill, the most powerful and the only form of krill oil in the world that actually has astaxanthin. All the other ones, head-to-head, do not have it. We have Omega Supreme, which is processed on the ship, so it's non-rancid. It's the highest concentration of omega DHA and EPA in the world. And we have Power C Plus, the only neutral pH ascorbic acid salt of calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium ascorbate with BioPerine. So one capsule, neutral pH, not buffered, neutral pH, 7.0. Neutral pH Power C Plus is a gram and a half, equivalent with 40% better absorption with black pepper extract. We use it with full vitamin K2 to alkalinize the body, to turn off disease, to fight cancer, and to fight autoimmunity. Power Methyl B12, 5,000 micrograms of B12, and of course the full vitamin K2. We also have, of course, the super folate, the highest concentration of 5-methyl activated folate in the world. Prostate Flow for your prostate gland to regenerate prostate function and reduce cancer risk. We have a radiation protection protocol with Nutriodine, Nutritrala, NutriDefense, and Power C with masks. And Regenerex, which is going to work on the NRF2 pathway, SOD, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione peroxidase to gene activate to protection. Samethyl, I take a sachet every morning. The most powerful way to pull out heavy metals out of your body, to activate your methylation for digestive enzymes, myelination of neural pathways in your body, and protection against all kinds of toxins that require methylation in your liver and elsewhere. The superfolate is 1,000 micrograms of 5-methylfolate. Very, very important. Tendon mender, we mentioned earlier, for regenerating tendon function and turning off inflammation. The ultrathiamine B1, and we also have the allethiamine in 2 different forms. Vein Away to turn off varicose veins, spider nevi, vasculitis anywhere in your body, and protect your artery walls. Vision Max for your eyes. We mentioned Vitamineral Max, and of course at the end of the line here, Xenoestrogen Detox, and it's for men and women to pull the xenotoxic chemicals out of your body. If you want to pull them out, NutriDefense and Xenoestrogen Detox are the 2 top, and the best way to mobilize it is Lumen Photon and infrared sauna, as well as Soma pulse magnetic field, and we soon will have a new Energizer pulse magnetic field device as well that we're adding to our repertoire of amazing technologies. If you have questions on any health issue or any issue, do call in live when the show's on, or call our order line 888-212-8871 or Nutrimedical.com. Drop us an email and I'll respond to it. Take care, take action. See you tomorrow.